The movie kicks off deep in the Panama jungle, where a cute sloth hangs lazily from a tree, munching on leaves. Out of nowhere, an alligator snatches it and drags it into the river. The water quickly turns red, making it seem like the sloth is done for. But to everyone's surprise, it survives and swims back to safety, completely unharmed. However, before it can escape, a group of poachers sedates it and stuffs it into a sack. As they leave, the camera pans to the water, revealing the lifeless body of the alligator. Turns out, the adorable sloth wasn't so helpless after all. It killed the alligator with its razor-sharp claws. The scene then shifts to two stylish college students, Emily and Madison, hanging out at a mall. As they stroll around, they complain about not having accomplished much in their 4 years, despite being part of a sorority. While chatting, they scroll through the social media profile of their college's stunning and popular sorority president, Brianna, who boasts over 30,000 followers. Emily dreams of becoming the next president, but she lacks the confidence to go up against the glamorous and influential Brianna. Madison tries to hype her up, reminding her that popularity doesn't equal friendship. Unlike Brianna, Emily has real friends and a loving boyfriend. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted when Emily spots a stray dog about to get hit by a kid on a bike. Without thinking twice, she dashes forward and rescues it. A passerby witnesses her heroic act. It's the same poacher from earlier. He asks if she's an animal lover, to which she happily nods. He then shows her his social media, filled with adorable pictures of a sloth, and hands her his card, suggesting she reach out if she's interested in owning an exotic pet. After all, cute animals are a great way to boost popularity. Later, Brianna enters the sorority house with her usual dominant attitude. No one dares to challenge her, despite her arrogance. It's election season, and Brianna is determined to remain president. Meanwhile, Emily and Madison move into their new senior rooms. That evening, Emily stands before a board displaying photos of past sorority presidents, including her mother. While reminiscing, she's approached by Mayflower, a sorority senior, who tells her that her mother was one of the kindest presidents ever, always putting her friends first. Seeing the same kindness in Emily, Mayflower encourages her to run for president. But Emily still isn't sure. That night, as Emily scrolls through Brianna's profile, she notices several pictures of her posing with wild animals. This sparks an idea. Getting a unique pet could help her gain the popularity she needs to compete with Brianna. Remembering the poacher from the mall, she messages him. He quickly responds, sending her an address and inviting her over in the morning. However, before handing over the sloth, the poacher takes it out for a walk, unaware of the danger lurking beneath its innocent face. In a brutal twist, the sloth turns on him, revealing its true nature and killing him mercilessly. The next morning, Emily drives to the given location but finds the place eerily quiet. She cautiously knocks on the door, which swings open. Stepping inside, she finds the sloth sitting calmly in the middle of the room, looking harmless. With no one else around, she decides to take it with her. Back at the sorority house, Emily tries to sneak the sloth to her room unnoticed. But Brianna intercepts her, demanding to know what's inside the box. When Emily hesitates, Brianna snatches it and tosses it down the stairs. The box bursts open, and the seemingly innocent sloth slowly emerges, leaving everyone in shock. Emily rushes downstairs to protect and comfort the sloth. Meanwhile, Brianna, annoyed that all attention is on the animal, declares that pets aren't allowed in the sorority house. But Emily quickly counters, stating that pets are permitted if they become the sorority's mascot. The girls vote in her favor, leaving Brianna furious. Adding to her frustration, Emily boldly announces that she'll be running for president this year. Unlike everyone else, Madison thinks keeping a poached wild animal is a terrible idea. She urges Emily to take it to a rescue shelter, but Emily brushes off her concerns, insisting the sloth is harmless. Later, Emily's friend Zenny visits her room, and together, they name the sloth Alpha. That evening, as Emily prepares for a party, she comes across news about the poacher's death. Though disturbed, she chooses to ignore it. Later, while she showers, Alpha climbs onto her desk and starts using her laptop. Surprisingly, the sloth is skilled with technology. It scrolls through Emily's social media and suddenly gets triggered by a picture of her with the poacher. Meanwhile, Brianna, unable to stand Emily's growing popularity, orders one of her minions, Ava, to get rid of the sloth. During the party, Ava pretends to be friendly and asks to hold Alpha. But instead of petting it, she sneaks outside and abandons the sloth in the rain. She then returns to the party and starts hooking up with a guy, unaware that Alpha is no ordinary pet. The intelligent sloth manages to find its way back and sneaks into Ava's room. While she's busy with the guy, Alpha spikes her drink with something sinister. Soon after, Ava takes a sip, starts feeling dizzy, and collapses. In a horrifying turn, the sloth pounces on her and brutally mutilates her with its razor-sharp claws. After the party, Emily searches for Ava and Alpha but finds neither. Worried, she returns to her room with a sad expression. As she lies on her bed, Alpha suddenly appears. Though startled at first, Emily is relieved and hugs it, completely unaware that blood is dripping from its sharp claws. As election day approaches, Brianna begins to crack under pressure, realizing her dream of winning a third term is slipping away. Meanwhile, Emily's popularity skyrockets, thanks to Alpha. But while she basks in success, the sloth continues its killing spree, picking off sorority girls one by one. The disappearances raise concern, but no one takes them too seriously. The day before the election, Alpha lounges in the sun with a beer when Madison finds it alone. Realizing this is her chance, she decides to rescue the animal and return it to its natural habitat. But just as she's about to take it, Emily catches her. Madison tries to explain why it's the right thing to do, but it quickly turns into an argument. Amidst the chaos, Alpha suddenly snatches Madison's phone and throws it into the street. As she rushes to retrieve it, tragedy strikes. A speeding vehicle hits her. She's immediately rushed to the hospital, with Emily by her side, overwhelmed with guilt. Holding Madison's hand, Emily apologizes and swears she'll get rid of the sloth. Just then, she receives a text from Brianna. "Be at the sorority house before midnight, or you'll lose the presidency." Emily hesitates. She doesn't want to leave Madison alone. But Madison, weak yet determined, urges her to go and win. Emily races back to the sorority house just in time. She hurriedly changes her outfit, accidentally leaving her phone behind, and heads to the election venue. As the voting begins, she watches nervously, unaware of the bloodshed happening behind the scenes. By now, Alpha has already eliminated 2 more girls, Alyssa and Dakota. But things take a darker turn when it finds Emily's phone and learns about Madison's location. Stealing her car keys, the sloth drives to the hospital. Once there, Alpha sneaks into Madison's room and shuts off her oxygen supply. It then takes a selfie before pressing a pillow over her face, attempting to finish the job. But just before Madison takes her last breath, a nurse enters, saving her just in time. Back at the sorority house, Emily wins the election, overjoyed by her victory. The girls celebrate, but Brianna, furious, storms off. She heads to Alyssa's room, only to stumble upon her lifeless body. Meanwhile, Emily goes to the bathroom when she suddenly hears Brianna's terrified screams. Rushing toward the sound, she finds the sloth attacking her. Realizing the danger, Emily strikes the animal from behind before fleeing to the bathroom. As they hide, Brianna blames Emily for the murders, but Emily insists she had no idea the sloth was so deadly. After a tense moment, they cautiously step out, only to be attacked again. This time, Emily manages to throw the sloth out of the window. But to their horror, it survives and re-enters the house. Elsewhere, the rest of the sorority girls are enjoying a shower party when the sloth sneaks in. It manipulates the electrical wires, electrocuting several girls at once. Back to Emily. She finds a gun in one of the girls' rooms and takes it for protection. But before she can use it, she bumps into Brianna's manager, dropping the weapon. Seizing the moment, the sloth attacks and drags the girl away. Panicked, Emily rushes upstairs to hide in a room. Meanwhile, Mayflower, who had passed out drunk, wakes up to find blood on the floor. Moments later, she spots Alpha, its claws dripping with blood. Then, she notices a dead sorority girl in the corner. Realizing the danger, she grabs a wooden plank and repeatedly bashes the sloth's head. When it finally stops moving, she goes searching for the others and finds Emily hiding. Just as Emily opens the door to let her in, the sloth stabs Mayflower from behind. Despite her injury, Mayflower fights back, managing to fend it off. Emily tries to take her to the hospital, but before she can do anything, Mayflower succumbs to her wounds. Meanwhile, Emily's boyfriend, Tyler, is scrolling through her social media when he notices something disturbing. Her account name has been changed to Killer Sloth. As he looks further, he realizes the sloth has been taking selfies with its victims. Horrified and realizing Emily is in danger, he immediately rushes to the sorority house. Upon arrival, He's relieved to find her alive, as Emily frantically explains the terrifying situation to him. Zenny suddenly shows up, revealing that she miraculously survived the electrocution. The trio, Emily, Tyler, and Zenny, heads toward the exit, rescuing Brianna along the way. Just as they think they're safe, Alpha attacks again, wounding Tyler. Zenny quickly pulls out a sword and impales the creature, but to their horror, it doesn't die. Instead, Alpha injures Zenny, snatches her sword, and charges at them. Before it can strike, Madison appears just in time with a gun and shoots the sloth down. Wasting no time, they all flee, but in the chaos, they unknowingly leave Brianna behind. Once Emily realizes their mistake, she refuses to abandon her and rushes back. She soon finds Alpha holding Brianna hostage. Determined to end this, Emily challenges the sloth to a duel. In response, Alpha leaps onto her, now wearing the sorority's presidential crown, and starts choking her. In a desperate move, Emily grabs the same crown and drives it deep into Alpha's head, forcing it to release her. Furious, the sloth makes one final leap to finish her off, but Emily manages to grab the gun and shoots it down, dealing a brutal blow. As she prepares to finish it off for good, the sloth weakly points at a picture of Panama and whispers home. Realizing the right thing to do, Emily chooses not to kill Alpha and instead ensures it is returned to its natural habitat. A year later, the surviving 4 girls have started a campaign to spread awareness about illegal poaching and protecting wildlife. Emily continues to lead as the sorority president, and the 4 have become inseparable best friends. In the final scene, a tour guide leads a group through the Panama jungle. Among them, a young girl is mesmerized by a sloth. Despite the guide's warning, she takes a selfie with it and decides to take it home, hinting that the cycle is about to repeat. So that's the end of our movie. If you've come this far, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe my channel.